No, I've actually no clue.
I actually don't know what Wheatley is named after. Is it a founding father? Somebody that contributed to the university? Actually.
Honestly, I have no idea. I got nothing.
We live in a world where little about a building is known. The Wheatley Center, most known for being the home of the School of Communications and Information Systems. Summer of 2012. The construction of the Wheatley Center begins. September 20th, 2012. Its completion is celebrated in the Celebration Gala. Happy faces everywhere. Why not? It's a huge achievement. Over 8,200 donors contributing to the $40 million campaign that funded its construction. Faculty offices, classrooms, a cafe, an art gallery, computer and design labs, a screening room. Quite an undertaking indeed. But questions still remain. Why Wheatley? Why not stay with the Wayne Center? Who is Wheatley? Yes, my friend, there is still much to learn about Wheatley. I wonder who Phyllis Wheatley was. Perhaps the Dean of the School of Communication Systems will be able to help.
First, I'll tell you a little bit about who Phyllis Wheatley was. She was America's first Black woman poet and the first African American to publish a book on any subject in the U.S., and America's second woman to do so. I'd like to tell you a little bit about her life. She was believed to be born in 1753 in what we call Senegal, West Africa today, and she died in 1784 in Boston, Massachusetts. She was kidnapped around the age of 8 years old and brought to Boston as a slave. She was purchased by John Wheatley, who is a wealthy merchant, for his wife as a present. His wife's name was Susanna Wheatley, and she was Susanna Wheatley's personal servant until the year that Susanna died in 1774. From the beginning, the family treated her differently than I think we think of most slaves being treated. Phyllis was recognized for her intellectual abilities and allowed to learn English and Latin and read literature. And she studied those topics with earnest. In fact, it's been said that within 16 months of arriving in the U.S., she had mastered English. Susanna Wheatley encouraged Phyllis to write poems and help get them published in New England, and they were circulated throughout New England, and later sent her poems to England, where her poetry was circulated in Europe. This led to her international recognition. In 1773, she was granted her freedom, but continued to serve Mrs. Wheatley, as I said, until she died in 1774. In 1778, Phyllis Wheatley married a free African man named John Peters, and they had 3 children together, although none of them survived past infancy. Phyllis Wheatley died very young at age 31 after the birth of her 3rd child.
Okay, enough about Phyllis Wheatley. Why was she picked for Robert Morris's new Media Arts building? Maybe Provost David Jameson could provide the answer.
Sure. When the building was going to be dedicated to the School of Communications and Information Systems, we wanted to name it after someone from the Revolutionary Patriot era, as other buildings are on campus. But we had used a lot of the names of the Founding Fathers and significant people from that era, but we had overlooked a lot of people who were maybe not as well known but made significant contributions to the thinking about the revolution. John John Adams said the revolution didn't happen on the battlefield, it happened in people's minds. So we started to think about people who had influenced people's minds. And I'm actually the one that suggested Phyllis Wheatley. I came across her name when I used to teach a course in women and social change. And she was one of the first published African-American poets in American history. And she was influential. Her poetry and her writing were influential about the time of the Revolution. So I thought, you know, there's a person who could bring in a lot of the elements of our school. English and our School of Communications and Information Systems is hard to capture in one person, because we got everything from, you know, computing to painting to fine arts to but she captures a lot of things. She was a published writer, so she captures the English department. She was a great communicator. She wrote poetry about George Washington and presented that around the country. Her poems were published in a very good-looking format for the day, so sort of media arts or graphic design became a piece of it. And she was a leader, and so organizational leadership in our school. The one piece we don't have is computing. They didn't have computing, so can't do much about that. But she was an influential figure, and we thought it was really appropriate to put her name forward. Now, it was one of 3 names that went forward for a vote. And you know, people voted for different reasons, but we put a brief biography for each of the 3 names, and hers was the name chosen. But that's why I thought of her.
Okay, so she's the first African-American poet and the first African-American woman to publish a book. But what about some of her work?
On the death of the Reverend Mr. George Whitefield. Hail, happy faint, on thy immortal throne, prophet of glory, life and bliss unknown. We hear no more the music of thy tongue, thy wanton auditories create to throng. Thy lemons in unequaled accents flowed, and every bosom with devotion glowed. Thou didst in strain of eloquence refined inflame the heart and captivate the mind. Unhappy we the setting sun deplore, so glorious once, but ah, it shines no more.
Now what about the Wayne Center? Why was it originally called the Wayne Center, but later changed to Wheatley? Surely there must be a simple explanation.
Why was it called the Wayne Center? I think no one here, at least I don't know the answer to that. My guess is it was named after General Anthony Wayne from the time of the Revolution. And at the time it was the Wayne Center. It was really a service building for the campus. So, you know, that seemed appropriate. But when we were going to put all the media arts and communication and English in there, you know, a general, successful on the battlefield, I mean, we're all grateful to him, but a general didn't seem like the right fit for it. I don't know who originally named it the Wayne Center, but that's probably why we thought about changing it to something that fit more with our school.
Phyllis Wheatley was an African-American poet. She was born into slavery at the age of 7 when she was transported to North America. Through her poetry, she was an extremely effective communicator. This is the reason Robert Morris's new Media Arts building was named after her. A great woman to represent a great building. Phyllis Wheatley is the Robert Morris Wheatley Center. Now you know.